This is Hoda's Career Chat. Thank you for joining me today. For those of you joining for the first time, I'm a career management professional. What this means, I wear many hats and play many roles in the career field. Most important for you today is that I am a career coach who is here to answer your education and career questions. So feel free to send me all your questions and I will answer them either in today's episode or next time. Today's topic, as usual, I start with a topic that has been receiving a lot of questions and a lot of concerns from listeners: failure or opportunity. We can choose to look at failures as opportunities, and I'm going to tell you how. Here are some of the questions that were proposed last few weeks. The first one is, I have not been able to find an opportunity for the summer. This is definitely going to feel like a failure. You feel like you couldn't accomplish what you were hoping to accomplish. So what are you going to do? The best thing to do is to rephrase the sentence and say, I have nothing going on this summer. I'm super excited to try new opportunities. And how do you do that? You do that by looking at the sentence from a positive perspective and say, okay, what am I going to do this summer? I can go volunteer, I can start my own podcast, my own YouTube video, or even write my own blog. Or how about taking a course? I mean, probably everyone is familiar with this story, but if you're not, it's Steve Jobs' story. Remember Steve Jobs' calligraphy course? He took it. 10 years later, the knowledge he gathered from that calligraphy course helped him design the Macintosh. No knowledge will go wasted that you learn. Everything will come in handy one day. So learning a new language, taking a calligraphy course could be also something that is an opportunity and not a failure for this summer. Another question. I was recently let go from my job. Again, can we rephrase this question? Think about it. I am not working right now. This is the opportunity I've been waiting for. I've been really wanting to move jobs, going somewhere else, but I was too scared to quit. And now I got this opportunity to go and work for the job I've been dreaming about, or do a change of career, or find a job that allows me my ideal situation, perhaps work-life balance, perhaps more challenging, perhaps more opportunities to grow. Any situation we have that seems a failure can be seen as a positive. I've got one more. I'm feeling discouraged, stuck, or unsure. These are three situations that I agree can seem like failures. But if we look at them from a positive perspective, you are actually on the right track if you're feeling discouraged, because you have just realized that you are not good or happy in the situation that you are in. You are feeling stuck. Well, it's good that you woke up and realized you're feeling stuck rather than do it 10 years later, where maybe now you can do something about it, but later on you may not. I'm feeling unsure. This is the starting of the reflection process. When high school students come to me and say, I'm not sure how to move forward, I don't know what my purpose is, I say, you've already started your journey. This is the start of the reflection process. You are on the right track. Now start moving forward with these thoughts. So I hope this gives you a good idea of how we can turn a failure into opportunity. But I'm going to share with you one more resource that I share with my clients. And I call it the oops moment. Yes, it's OOP as in Peter S. My clients usually say, you're not serious, are you? What are you talking about? So bear with me here as we move forward in the 4th stages of oops. The first O is for ouch. So you feel like you've been let go from your work and that was not good because you really enjoy what you're doing. So that hurts. Allow yourself to cry. I'm actually going to stop the screen here so that you can see the writing. So allow yourself to cry. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to feel bad. But now it's time to allow yourself a few moments. This is stage 1. We're going to cry. It's all right. But now it's time to move on to the next stage, the second stage of OW. That's OW. So you have to admit that this experience hurts. You still cannot believe this happened to you. It is so embarrassing and sickening to think about. How are you going to tell your friends about it? So allow yourself time after you've cried to think about it and reflect. And that's cool. Before long, though, you have to move to the PIFT stage. PFFT. It is time to move on. Take a deep breath. As you take that deep breath, you're going to think, but wow, that felt bad. I'm not sure I can move on. Or you might even say, no, wait, that was awful. But really, you're in the third stage or in the stage. It's time for you to say whatever. It does not matter. It is what it is. I have to move forward. And now you get to the fourth and final stage, the stage. You've made it to the final stage. You've been through the crying, the reflection, and now it's time for you to declare to yourself, to your other, that you're ready to move on. Going through that experience was not a big deal, as much as it hurt at first. You are excited to try something new. But guess what? And this is the most important thing to realize in the final stage. You have experienced failure. You have learned how to cope, and you are stronger because of it. So try the oops moment. Let me know how that worked for you. I would love to hear your feedback. And now it's time for me to answer your questions. I like to repeat this every time because I do want you to share all your questions with me, regardless of what you think. So I did receive a few questions, but please type your questions in chat or comment. I want you to remember there are no right or wrong questions. No questions is too silly for you to contemplate and share, nor is it too silly for me to attempt to answer. Believe me, if you're thinking of it, someone else is. So not only will you benefit from having brainstormed about it with someone else, but others might as well. My promise to you, if I don't know the answer, to let you know, and I will do my best to find out the answer for you and answer it in future episodes. So let's take a look at your questions. First question. I just completed my university degree. Well, congratulations. This is an exciting time, despite the times we're going through. I feel that companies are not considering my application seriously. Why is that? Personal experience, our companies do take any application they receive seriously. If you feel that way, you might want to go back and check the tools that you are using. Definitely start with your resume. Are there any, how polished is it? Like, are there any editing mistakes that you think should not be in there? Any words that are making your sentences too lengthy? But most important, and this is very important, is, are you accommodating the ATS system? If you're not familiar with the ATS system, it's the applicant tracking system. ATS, applicant tracking system. And I recently saw a post on Instagram that I think will help you really value the importance of the ATS and how it works. The ATS system is a machine that looks for keywords. So definitely looking at that job posting is important and seeing any keywords that have been repeated at least twice. The post on Instagram likened the ATS system to a robot, which I thought was really cool. Think of it as a video game you are playing and you have a robot that is looking for specific keywords. This robot is hungry and will only eat those keywords. So think about it. You want to feed the robot, and that's where your keywords are going to come in. No keywords, the robot's going to go away hungry. The robot won't pass your resume to the hiring manager. So I hope that gives you an idea of how to make your resume more friendly to the system that scans resumes before they go to the hiring managers. As well, if the company asks for a cover letter, I hope you are writing a good cover letter, something that really makes you stand out and shows some qualifications and skills that you may not have been able to show in your resume. This is important. And my way of writing cover letters, and some coaches agree, some disagree, is to really put your heart into it, as if you are talking to that person and sharing your personal journey that led you to that job application. I find these type of cover letters work because if they are read by a human, they will definitely elicit a response for an interview request. So definitely good cover letter is helpful. Good resume that caters to the ATA system. And finally, and this is, I probably say this too much, it's time for you to start networking. Networking with a cover letter and resume will definitely get you an interview or at least a coffee chat to learn more about the company faster than just a resume. Look around you, the people you know, the people you hang out with. Sometimes friends, their parents will be the person you want to reach out to, or even they may know someone. You can reach out to your own parents, the neighbors, the teachers you work with, if you've just completed your degree. So definitely networking to me comes along hand in hand, if not more important than a resume and cover letter. Hope this gets you started, and I hope this gets you an interview soon. Let me know. Are there any free resources to help me find my direction and purpose? Online, there are plenty of resources to help you find your direction or your purpose. All you have to do is Google "find my direction" or "find my purpose." Now, I have created a list of free resources on my website. If you go to rightcareerfit.com, there's a list of free resources in my complimentary services page. And it does include separate surveys that you can use just to look at the answers and get to know yourself more, see if that helps you find your direction and purpose. One of my favorite is the VIA Character Strength Survey. I love it. It's divided into 24 character strengths, and then you get your top 5 and you look at them and see if that helps you find your purpose. But there are others as well on the website. Also on my website, on the complimentary page, I have a list of websites that take you from finding your direction or your purpose or your strength all the way to job postings. One of them is, if you live in Canada, is one made by the government of Alberta. It's the ALIS website, ALIS. It starts with assessment, and it also has job postings in Alberta. So it takes you all the way. Another favorite of mine, that's made by the Government of Canada and Government of New Brunswick. It's the PACE website, Plan to Achieve Excellence, PACE. And again, it starts with assessments of a plan and all the way down to helping you find your career goals and perhaps purpose as well. So definitely a lot of work involved, but the resources are there out for you, and you can use them and either Google "find my direction" or "find my purpose," or go to my complimentary services page, excuse me, on rightcareerfit.com. Is it okay to lie on a resume? All right, as tempting as this is, I don't think it's okay to lie on a resume. That is because if your lie actually gets you into an interview, it's just going to snowball. Um, how can you elaborate on a lie and then get the job? So if you lie in a resume, you probably are going to have to lie in an interview. So I definitely don't support that. But think about it. If you say you have certain skills on your resume, you continue to say you have those skills on the interview or during the interview, and then it's time for you to get the job done and you don't have those skills. So really, it's gonna follow you through. If you would like to elaborate on the lie and what you have in mind, to me, a lie is a lie. But if you'd like to elaborate and ask more questions about it, some clients tell me, oh, it's just creative writing. I would definitely not recommend it. But if you'd like me to give you more detail on why not, please feel free to ask more questions about the lie that you are considering putting on your resume. Moving on to the next question. The company I work for is closing. How will I be able to prove that I work there if the company does not exist anymore? This is a very good question, and it is common. I know that many people are going through that as we go through the pandemic actually, yeah. The best thing for you to do right now, if you know the company is closing, is to start networking with colleagues, with supervisors, managers, and make sure you get names and contact outside of work, so their personal contact numbers, so that you can reach out to them for references or for any verification if a company says, well, how can I prove that you work there? Definitely working with colleagues that you believe will give you good references. These would be the ones to reach out for now before the company closes down. Make sure you have a way of reaching out to them that is not within the company address, because these, of course, emails or phone numbers may not be available for you anymore to reach out to these people. You can reach out to them on LinkedIn or any other social media you know they're in, if they're okay with you to connect with them, and make sure that you have a list of 5 to 10 people, because usually these three, sometimes you've been asked for 3 references to verify any information you give. Typically it's 3, sometimes it's 2, sometimes it's more, depending on the job you're planning on move forward and really the career field that you work in. So definitely this is the best way to prove. But if it's the same industry and you know, people will know that the company went down, and the networks that you develop are the only way to give references, I guess, to the new job that you're applying to. What should I include in my CV, and how is a CV different from a resume? That's a very good question. Like really, really quickly, a resume would be a short version of your cover letter, of your CV. A resume for me shouldn't be more than 1 page. Some people say 2, and I say, okay, if you really have a lot to share, you've really moved a lot of jobs, sure. But a CV, on the other hand, is longer. It really covers your entire career. Like in the resume, we only covered the last 10 years now. In a CV, you can cover your entire career, and you just do your CV once. It does not need to be changed for every job you apply to. So that's really the short answer. CV is longer, resume is shorter, 1 page, very concise. But I'll tell you a bit more about CVs and how we view them in North America, like in Canada and the US. CV is short for curriculum vitae, which if you look up the word, it's Latin for your course of life. So it is a resume, but more than that. It is not required by a lot of companies in Canada, but usually if you work or you're applying to work in universities or for an academic job, for a scientist job, doing research, also for graduate schools, or if you work in the education field where you could have created a course and developed it. So there's more to be included in a CV. These are some things that you may not include in a resume, unless your resume is too short and then you'd like to include that. But some of these things are publications. So any papers that you have published in an academic journal, it's definitely worth including on a CV. Any creative projects that you've created. And so while in resume you would say, I created a project, in a CV you would tell us more about it, and that would be expected from academics, scientists, and even graduate schools that you may be applying to. Around the world, the CV is viewed differently. So if you are not from North America, then there will be a different explanation. You can send me another question, what country you're at, and I can tell you more about it. But in Europe, a CV and resume are viewed differently. So, but for North America, a resume is a one-pager, shorter version. For the CV, it's longer, covers your entire career. And I've never heard of a limit on a CV, perhaps 10 pages. Some job postings may tell you on the page limit, but it's definitely the longer version of your resume. I hope this helps you to move forward in writing a CV, but if you need more help, definitely reach out with more questions. All right, the next question. Would a company support me for a work-life balance? Yes, some companies do. And usually the best way for you to find out is go online on their website, and they will talk about it in their mission statement or their vision statement, sometimes they call it. This is when they talk about how they started and what are their values. Through their values, their missions, their goals, you can figure out if the company will support your work-life balance. Of course, you can Google reviews of that company. People will tell you too much work, not enough time off. And definitely, if this is an important value, the value of work-life balance for you, then you are on the right track and looking for companies that would support you in that. Do not hesitate to make it a priority. Because if you live and hope for a work-life balance in your career, if you don't have that, you may not be happy, or even you may not be able to accomplish and get ahead in your work if you do not have the work-life balance option. This is definitely a good question, and it's one of the values that I insist that my clients reflect on as we apply to jobs that have higher expectations, work pressure, expect you to put more hours. Definitely something for you to consider and make a priority. Moving on to the next question, which I believe will be our last questions for today. Is it hard for me to find a job in this market as a 2020 grad? There is a lot of talk about how hard it is to find a job in any situation we're in, what you're at, like whether you were just let go from your work or you're a fresh grad. So it is a more competitive market than it was before. It all depends on what you have accomplished so far and what you're hoping to accomplish in the next year. What kind of job are you looking for? What kind of opportunity is your ideal opportunity? It's harder than normal, but it's harder for anyone to find a job. But as a 2020 grad, and we've already talked about that in the first question actually that we got today, where the question was, I feel that companies are not considering my application seriously. The onus is on you. The onus is definitely on you, and it always is on us as career seekers to network. Networking can take many forms, and in this day and age, all you have to do is fire emails asking for a chat, career chat if you want to call it, asking to meet with someone who is in charge. This is if you have no one around you who knows someone. The bonus would be if you do have someone, you're a fresh grad, go to your teachers, they may know someone who knows someone and who is looking to hire or who is willing to engage with you to help you find a job. Networking to me remains the number one career job placement tool. But of course, you have to couple that with a good resume and a good cover letter and a positive attitude so that when you are asked for an interview, you know, you walk in and think, I am going to get that job. Definitely the attitude is important. And remember to have polished resume, polished cover letter, and just get out there and network your way into a job. I know you'll find one because you are thinking about it and it's an important priority for you. This is all the time I have for today to answer your questions. And as usual, before I let you go, I like to leave you with a weekly reflection quote. The quotation today is by Kevin Costner, my all-time favorite actor. And this is what he has to say. Failure doesn't kill you. It increases your desire to make something happen. So for those of you we have talked about failure with, for those of you going through situations that may seem like failures, get into that oops moment, get yourself going, get yourself moving forward, and go make something beautiful happen for yourself. Thank you so much for being a part of Hoda's Career Chat. Remember, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, or Pinterest. And so this chat is also found on YouTube and SoundCloud if you would like to listen to it again or share it with some of your friends. Thank you so much for being a part of the chat, and I will see you next week.